welcome to Factorio Beltalowda recap session number 5. My name is Nilaus, and this is, yes, our recap. So we're recapping what has been done on the stream over the previous week. So if you're unfamiliar with this series, then I encourage you to check out this playlist. Playlist contains currently, with this including this one, 5 videos just summarizing the progress of this interesting base that I'm doing on my Twitch streams. And it is also a good way to you to catch up if you've been missing a bit of progress. Just catch up on the progress, the choices, and then we are back in action over on Twitch. So I think I've mentioned that a few times now. Anyway, things have grown, and you can see I am using the water a lot more. We also have some good juicy water parts here. The reason why is actually because of the constraints of this base. The constraints being the power is determined by donation, and the drones determined by subs. So that means our total resource gathering speed is determined by the amount of drones we have, which is currently doing quite okay in terms of sort of we can keep up with what we have, and we can actually keep pretty much everything we do serviced. The other one is power. Power is now at 1.5 gigawatts out of the 2.1. And that seems like we have a nice buffer, but actually that's not a very big buffer. So we are now in the position where we have to balance two things. That is space as one constraint, the space we have available, versus the power. Because we can make some really compact builds with lots of modules and beacons, such as this. Interesting that some of them are double beacon, some of them are not. Oh, whatever. Yeah. So I can make stuff really compact, but if I do that, I use way too much power. Yeah, or I can make something like really open. This is also really compact, or something open, such as this one we built last time, and then it'll just take a lot more space, and that's going to be another issue. So those are the two things we're balancing, and as we were kind of getting close to our limit, then I started to build more in terms of just speed, more focused on power usage. So we built this giant thing. It takes a lot of space and doesn't do much. You see here, it takes 4 belts in. It's not consuming 4 belts. I think each line here is taking only 20. So it's like, it's actually only 2 belts. So as long as this one, and it can provide 2 full belts in, then all of this is running. This consumes, basically the only input is water, which is free, and then coal, and then goes out, gets redone here, and turns out to be 12, 24, 48. So potentially a bit more than a full lane of blasting out. But you can see how big this is in terms of this. But on the other hand, if we look at how little power it's using, we're down to each one using less than 100 kilowatts of power. So that's 1 megawatt, 2, 3, 4 megawatts, and that's probably like maybe, so this whole thing might be taking 10 megawatts, which by comparison, each one of these is, so that's the same as these 4 units, right? So these 4 and this giant thing is probably about the same power usage. So you can see how much we can alternate between power and size. And it's going to be an interesting challenge for this playthrough. This one is also kind of too heavy in my opinion. So what we did is up here we started to build a new thing. Basically the idea is, as it is now, our bus can't really extend, and some of the things are just not working fast enough. That's what we're seeing now. So I want to make the stuff that is not fast enough go faster, obviously. And that's previously it was actually the low density structures, and then it was rocket fuel. And now you can see, because we fixed those two things, and that's what we're going to take a look at. Now it's the next one on the list, being the rocket control units. But the first thing was low density structures. So I built a dedicated location up here, especially for the low density structures. Let's have a look at it. So this is consuming 1 full lane and producing 1 full lane of copper plates continuously. As long as it's fed a full lane in, a full lane goes out as well. It's also consuming some coal, as you can see, so that's another good thing. There are no beacons, no modules, and extremely low power usage, because the power usage comes primarily from, or come exclusively from the inserters, and we all know they don't really take much. They actually take 2 inserters, take the same as one of those power plants, one of the refineries. Never mind. So this is very efficient. I also have, I have 4 lanes here for steel, and that gives us 40% of a lane, and we take some plastic from down here and merge all of this together and go up here. Then that means we are actually building, I can't even remember it, but it's certainly less than a full belt of low density structures. But now we're building it. It's working. And this giant thing here is also, you can see how much space it takes. But I like it. I like it. It's a new and interesting way to build things with being very conscious about the power. And that's kind of one of the challenges I wanted. I wanted to have a space constraint and a power constraint, some things that I'm usually not very much constrained by. And that we just have our low density structures going down. It's also, what I want to do is I want to remove this area, because that means this start growing together, and that's going to be the primary thing. So if I can move this part and this part, I want to prioritize it more than I actually want this part out here. It's also like, yeah, 1.2 million. So you can see here, I'm chewing from this side, chewing from this side, chewing the copper from this side, and then this side and this side. The coal is being chewed on here and here. So just gradually we are consuming all of this. And it'll take a while, because they are still like 2.4, 1.2. It's still a lot. So next thing I wanted to build, which is what we, it's actually down here, was another build for, where is it? That one. This is kind of the same build, but it just turned out to be way too big. This is again a coal liquefaction plant. Getting in here, and it just, first I wanted to make one line that consumed a full belt, which would then require 20 refineries, and then 14 of this one, and then it was like 40 of those, and I was like, okay, that's going to be all the way over here, so that's not working. So I had to split it into 2 lines, each consuming about 21, yeah. So these 2 each consume half a belt, half a coal belt, not much. And it just, this is me trying to sort of find that balance between absolute power. I'm just gradually trying to find the balance between power and space. So I'm putting in 1 module here and 1 speed module and 2 modules. You can see how much this one's taking. This is actually taking 300, which means one of these is the same as 3 of these, pretty much. So it doesn't take up more power, but it's not actually that bad. And it goes over here, makes a nice big fat chunk, and goes back in here. So the next thing we want to do is definitely making the rocket control units scale up, which isn't going to be a big deal, because we can take some red circuits, or we can build more red circuits if we need. We can build another green circuit build, which we're just going to build like, not exactly like this, but kind of. I think we might want to redo this. I don't know if we want to redo. I don't think we want to redo anything. We can also just start up here and see now the sizes of these, even though it's just a small line, it's still 1.5. So it's going to take a while to get rid of, no matter how we twist and turn it. So that's going to be one of the next challenges, like stuff like this. 2.1 million, 1 million, 400,000. It's going to take a while for us to consume it, but that's why we built stuff like this. Just continuously consuming. This is pretty much using 2 full belts of green. This is the last build, building dedicated blue circuits. And you can see how small it is. It's actually consuming 3 full lanes plus 2 full lanes. And once we have that, that's being consumed over here. And why is it not? Ah, okay, sulfuric acid is dead. Why is it dead? It's just not fast enough, I guess. Yeah, this one's not fast enough. But that's kind of, we'll just tweak it a bit. I just wanted to build like a small sulfuric acid depot, but it's just not keeping up. Is it here? Now there's something, and then this one looks like it's actually working-ish. No, it's not quite 0. And down here, you can see that they're slowly filling up. So we definitely need more sulfuric acid to go in, also because I think the next thing I want to do is actually like mirror it, so we can have 2 of these next to each other, so that I can get, I'm not going to say 2 full lanes, but go on both sides and go in. That means this one modeled here, this one modeled on the other side, and then these out here, so we can consume more. It's all about really consuming more so we can push out our boundaries, and then maybe actually making a bit more focus towards breaching into this lake. This lake is enabled, so we can actually breach in here, and then maybe taking some of this out. So that's going to be some of the next things we want to do. Also, we need a lot more structure, because as you can see, when we built blue circuits up here, it's a hell of a long way to load it all the way into the bus. But it's kind of the only way we have to do it right now. And that's going to be one of the challenges moving forward. Also out here, we're just consuming a bit. I don't know if that's really a good idea. This is much easier to get space here than it is to get space here, because you can see this is 2.1 for the small one. This is way more than twice the size, but it's only twice the amount. So definitely we want to, this is easier way to generate space. And you can see I'm just consuming all of the copper first, and then going in and chewing out the next part. So it's really, I like the way that it's this base is progressing, but it's still to my liking, or compared to what I like, it's way too haphazard and spaghetti. But I guess we're enjoying that together, that nice new experience. That's going to be the focus. Focus being keep scaling up, keep building more advanced components. My intention is that I'll start taking different science builds out and make a dedicated science build, basically from raw resources into a science. Probably start with the red and green, those are the easiest one, so that we just can start scaling up the science, and then work our way from there as we consume more, because it's all about consuming more right at this point. First, I think we will make the rocket control unit so we can have the rockets launch faster. And as you can see, this is definitely the blue circuit. So just by feeding the blue circuits back into the bus, I think we're going to get a lot of benefit from it. Cool. That should be it for us on this session. I am streaming this on Twitch. Currently, it's streaming on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Sometimes Mondays as well, but that will be replaced with Satisfactory once the update comes out. So generally, look for me on Twitch for Factorio. Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And all the other days for other stuff. I will see you guys around. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for following. And I hope to see you either here on YouTube, on Twitch, on Discord. Until next time, stay effective.